Welcome to this week's episode of the Teach in Thailand podcast, where we talk all things tricks, tips and teaching in Thailand. Today I'm joined with our program manager, Jason. So can you tell us what is program manager?
So that title's a little ambiguous. Nick would be number one, and I would be number two. Nick's main responsibility is to go out and develop new business. Go out to schools we're not in and present to those schools. And then maintain those relationships once we have them. Now, my main responsibility is for the staff. All the staff, the teachers, the coordinators, the managers. Their needs are taken care of.
Fabulous. All right, so I know that you as our program manager, but that's not how you started, right?
No.
And I know that you had quite an interesting entry into teaching that was a little bit different from most people's norms. So can you tell us a little bit about how you actually ended up here, right?
Okay, so my origin story, I guess you'd have to start off why I came to Thailand initially. I came here on holiday, developed a love interest, and then eventually I married my wife. So we decided to open up a restaurant/bar on a lake, but in her hometown where her family lives. So we did that. The patrons of that restaurant are all the foreigners in that area, in that town. Most of those foreigners were teachers.
Right, okay.
Okay, so, and it just so happens one day, the teachers from the high school that was closest or just down the road, they said, Jason, one of our teachers hasn't returned. We need a teacher tomorrow. Can you do the cover teacher? I was like, okay, sure. Okay. Because I'd never been in a classroom except to be a student myself, so this is all new to me. But I said, I'll give it a shot. So I Skyped my predecessor that night, and he asked me to start the next morning. Now, the teacher was expected to be only away for 2 weeks. So I was hired to cover at the school for 2 weeks. Well, Teacher Michael never came back.
Never came back.
So I was hired on for a permanent position. It might seem minor. Okay, I'm doing the same job the whole time, but before I was labeled temporary, and then now I'm labeled permanent. Something switched. It was a whole change in mindset. And then once you get into it and go in to have fun, then it actually became the most rewarding job I've ever had.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So you get to laugh all day and get paid for it. Right?
What a bonus.
So, and I found that if you just release some of your inner child in the classroom, then the students can connect with that, and then it's just bliss after that.
Yeah, that's such a nice way in. Yeah, sure, I'll help you out, I'll cover for a little bit, and then actually you ended up finding that you really loved it and then wanted to stay there.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so where were you? Where were you doing this teaching?
In Isaan, a town called Nang Rong.
Okay, not many people have often heard of the Isaan region, right? But both you and I have lived there, we've both worked there, so we both hold it very close to our hearts. Right. So how long did you live and work in Isaan for?
For a total of 8 years.
For a total of 8 years, that's quite a long time.
It is a long time, yeah.
So what was it about Isaan that kept you there?
Well, I've had the pleasure of living in Bangkok for central Bangkok for a couple years, and then Isaan for 8 years. So I know, I know both sides. And everything is so much easier in Isaan.
It really is.
Okay, first we could talk about money and cost of living. Your housing and your base bills will be at least double in Bangkok. Cost of food. Here, spending 200 to 300 baht on a meal is typical. Back in Isaan, 60 baht would be a lot of food, right?
Yeah.
Right. So besides that, the school life is different too. The schools there are a community, and the Thai teachers are really interested in you, where you're from, your life story, and they are ready to bring you into the school community. I have lifelong friends that are Thai teachers from my home school.
It's such a rich community, I think, up in Isaan. It really spreads over to everything, doesn't it? The school life, your daily life, it really is kind of a very different and very immersive experience. Obviously, we both love Isaan, but it's important to talk about some of the possible differences, challenges, considerations that anyone right now hearing cheap food, cheap rent, nice easy lifestyle, well, there's also some things that you need to consider. Any kind of things that you think are important for someone to think about?
Yeah, I like how you put that challenges because it's not really negatives. But there are certain things you should be aware of. There are going to be less foreigners or less Westerners in your town, okay? But really, why did you come all the way to Thailand to hang out with your countrymen?
Yeah.
You could do that at home.
Right?
Yeah. So the other thing is if you're in Isaan, get a scooter. That's really something that will open your world because when you're walking everywhere, your world is this small. But as soon as you have that transportation, that freedom, you can explore the whole city, and then you can explore the rest of the country. And that could be countryside, natural beauty, or that could be actual big cities in Isaan as well.
Yeah, it really sort of opens a lot of doors, doesn't it, having some kind of transport. Yeah. But when it comes to having a scooter or a moped, you need to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Right? You need to learn how to ride, whether you have a couple of lessons back in your home country or whether you do a little crash course while you're here.
Yeah.
Don't just get on one day and get straight onto the road. Please keep yourself safe, wear a helmet. And that's another thing that I think is really important too, is remembering where you are. Your students will recognize you. Their parents might recognize you, other teachers. You need to be mindful of what you're doing and set a good example, right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, any other sort of things that someone might want to think about when they're thinking about going to Isaan?
Right, so there is a language. It's called the Isaan language, and everyone in Isaan speaks both.
Yes.
Okay, and when they're talking amongst themselves, they'll just use it interchangeably and go from Thai to Isaan and back and forth. If you're listening at a conversation, it can get kind of confusing. And there's no Google Translate or learning apps for Isaan. Right?
No.
So, yes.
But you can, even if you've been learning Thai or you want to learn Thai when you come out here, you can still learn normal Thai. Everyone will understand you. It might just be that you don't understand a word because perhaps it's Isaan dialect as opposed to Central Thai language. But it is a fantastic dialect to learn, and it's such a fun, richer, more musical kind of version of Thai.
It's definitely a sing-song version of Thai. I mean, a lot of the words are completely different, but the way they say it, there's this lilt or
these little kind of nuances that it's a really fantastic. So something that even I had the misconception of when I first started thinking about Thailand was, heard the occasional thing about Isaan, and then as soon as you hear Isaan, you hear rural, and then people think rural, they think rice paddies, no AC, wooden huts, bumpy track roads, no convenience. Is that actually what Isaan is like?
Yes and no. Yes, there's a lot of that, but it's not where you're going to be placed. Okay, most people think when we say Isaan out in the rural areas, they picture village schools.
Yes.
Okay. Understand that all our schools, on average, is about 3,000 students per school. So that school is going to service a mid-sized town.
Yes.
Okay. And the school will be either in the town or right outside the town. So at that mid-sized town, you'll have everything that you need. You'll have at least one big supermarket, a few open markets, gym, hospital, clinics, restaurants, everything that you need. And another thing, all those mid-sized towns are within an hour's drive to a major proper city where you can get anything that you want.
Very much the experience I had was when I was living in Isaan. My town itself had everything I wanted. There was even a university, so there was a mall, there was a cinema, there was a couple big supermarkets, there was a couple markets. But then on the weekend, I could go to the bus station, sit on a bus for 45 minutes, and then I was in the big city where there was absolutely everything, you know. You can take a day trip, you can drive around, it's nice, and there's a real nice balance, I think, in Isaan of towns and upcoming places and cities and really interesting things and lots of really beautiful nature. So if you're thinking about Isaan and you're thinking, oh, it's a bit too rural for me, it's still very developed, right?
Yes, it's very well developed.
So yeah, you can find everything you need. But I think one of the biggest bonuses, which you touched on earlier, is the low cost of living.
Right.
I think that's probably the biggest selling point for Isaan in general. If you're happy with a little bit less around you, the cost of living is just unrivaled.
Yes, you're going to have more disposable income.
Yes.
So in Bangkok, you're going to have all these things that you can do, much more entertainment and things to do, but you're generally not going to be able to afford them. There's just too much to do. But living out there, more of that money goes into your pocket to spend on entertainment and travel, do
Yes.
whatever you want to.
Exactly. I mean, Thailand is the land of the public holiday, and schools have lots of holidays off. They have a 2 months break in the summer, couple weeks during October. So you can then, if you've got savings, you've been able to put some money away, then you're free to explore Thailand. You can go down the south, you can even go out of the country, go across the border to Laos, go and visit Vietnam and things like that. You know, whether you're living in Bangkok or living in Isaan, Monday to Friday, 7:30 till 4, you're in the classroom.
Right.
So you have the weekend. Well, if you're able to save more money, you can really do stuff with those weekends.
You can really do stuff, right.
Yeah, if you're living in Bangkok, you're spending more money because you're taking public transport every day. You're spending more money on simple little things like your meals, your food, you know. You might pay in Bangkok 70 or 80 baht for a kind of on rice dish. In Isaan, you're paying 40 baht, maybe 60 if you have the special with a fried egg and all of those kind of things, right? So it's cheaper in all aspects. You know, you're paying maybe 5,000 for your rent rather than 10, 15,000 for your rent.
Very true.
Anyone that's thinking right now, okay, this all sounds fantastic. Okay. Isaan is cheap, it's fun, it's cultural, it's rich. I want to know a piece of advice that you would give to someone considering moving to Thailand, whether that's to teach, whether that's just to, you know, come here and experience it for a couple of months.
Some advice. Okay, so before you come, do some research. Do some research of the general area that you're at, what it provides, what's around, what are the attractions, and then also do research on the actual location, the town that you're going to be in.
Yes.
Of course, there'll be a little bit of culture shock. You move into a new country, but there won't be any unpleasant surprises. It's like, nobody told me this, okay? So take it upon yourself to do some research.
Yeah, and ask questions, please. We go, we visit, we go different places. You've been to all of the schools in Isaan. You know what the areas are like. You know what the town looks like. Please, if people aren't sure, we want everyone who goes to wherever their location is to know what to expect. Of course, there's always going to be, I didn't expect that, I didn't know that, but the basic foundation, you should know what's in your town, what's available.
Well, we're teachers. We actually like to share information.
When I moved up to Isaan, I was given no information.
Right.
I had no idea what to expect. Thankfully for me, it worked out for the better and I loved it.
Right.
But it's important that you know what you're going into, right? And I think we care a lot about making sure that people feel that they have all the information they need. I think that's a great piece of advice, researching your area. Any other advice?
Yeah, so don't come here with a holiday attitude. Okay, this is not Las Vegas. You're coming here to live, to work for at least 5 months, if not almost a year. So as a foreigner, everyone at school and everyone around town is going to be watching everything you do, how you act, how you dress, and everything. That's just natural. You're the foreigner. Some of your students, this is going to be the first time they've had any real interaction with a foreigner. And because of that, as unfair as it might be, the way you act, they're going to think that everyone from your country acts the same way. So you're an ambassador, you're a representative for all your countrymen.
Yeah, yeah. So it's important to be mindful.
Be mindful.
Be mindful of how you're acting, what you're doing. That's things like wearing a helmet when you're driving your bike. It's, you know, being respectful, be polite. A community around you that cares and is interested in you. It's not people wanting to know what you're doing and being nosy and anything like that. It's out of a place of just interest and care, right? You're an interesting human being.
You are interesting, and especially out in Isaan. There's just not that interaction. And that's a big difference between the students in Isaan and the students in Bangkok.
That's very true.
Students in Bangkok have seen a million foreigners.
Yeah.
You'll walk through school and you'll say, hello, and they won't even say hello. They just walk by. But Isaan, you're like this novelty. So they're going to be bombarding you with questions and
they'll want you to be in all of their TikToks and they'll ask you 101 questions about your home country, about why you're in Thailand, about what Thai food is your favorite, all sorts of different things. I think it's a really, really enriching experience being in Isaan. You know, okay, yes, Bangkok has many, many fantastic things and reasons to be here, but if someone wants a really interesting, really fresh experience of Thailand, then I would say try Isaan.
Yes. You're totally immersed in the culture. You're eating authentic Thai food.
And honestly, Isaan food is the best.
Yes,
Thai food.
yeah.
It's the best.
We might be partial, but
I might be biased, but
might be biased, right? It'd be a shame to come all the way from your country, go back, and not really know what Thailand and the Thai people are all about.
yes, because Bangkok being a big city has that big city mindset, and it's so international here. With how many tourists have come to Bangkok this year?
50 million this year.
So 50 million tourists have come through this city. So it has a very different vibe. It's still very authentic Thailand. There's still a lot of culture, and the fact that it's Thailand is still very evident.
Right.
But there's a huge melting pot of Asian cultures, Western cultures, and everything. But if you want to know what Thailand is like, then it's Isaan. It's where you're going to experience some real Thailand. And I would say go and do it, even if it's for one semester. Even if it's for one school year, go and experience it, because you will experience things there that you won't and can't anywhere else in the country.
100%.
Okay, thank you very much for joining this episode of the Teach in Thailand podcast today. Thank you very much for joining us, Jason. I appreciate it. We will absolutely have you back.
My pleasure.
If you want more content just like this, then please follow along. We'll have guests of students, staff, and our teachers. Follow our social media for content directly from our school, and you can DM us on social media anytime with any questions. We want to provide that information for you and give you as much support as we can, so your journey into teaching and into Thailand is as informed as possible. Visit our website sineeducation.com if you are ready to put in your application. From myself and from Jason, thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.